ever thought to yourself that the person who has figured out how to get started in business, that, they may have some unfair advantage over the person who has not gotten started in business? The thing that you really have to keep in mind is that if you are not trying to understand business concepts, and it doesn't mean that you have to own a business. There are some people who sit behind a desk and all they do is monitor the trade of different commodities. They learn how markets move, and they don't have to leave their house in order to do that. They just sit back and they look at the computer screen and they figure out what they think is going to happen next. And it's like a more civilized and acceptable way to gamble. Most people aren't going to say it like that. That is what it is. It's like a more dignified way of putting your money on a bet. But at the end of the day, it's like an organized bet. It is a calculated gamble. It is something where if you have the right program, you have the right analysts, you have the right people behind you to give you feedback on what has happened historically. If you learn those business concepts, then you too can make money off the stock market. Any industry where you take the time to learn the ins and the outs, the best practices, you learn, what does it take in order to be successful in this industry or that. And before you know it, you too can be in business. The thing is that if you do not get started, right? If you never get started, even if you achieve, success in whatever arena that you're in, you are still shortchanging yourself. You know why? Because once again, if you don't aim for the stars, then someone else is aiming for the stars and they're going to ask you to help them to build the craft to help them get there. So at the end of the day, when you do not do your due diligence, you become part of someone's business plan. That means that they are sitting back and they're thinking to themselves, okay, what is this person going to buy next? What trend is this group going to start next? What trend will they jump on in order for me to make, some more money off of their activities? And at any point in time, anyone can think like that and then apply certain practices, in social work, we say we'll utilize an intervention. And so in business, there are economic theories and they kind of govern, how people think about how money moves and how trade happens and so on and so forth. And the thing is are you willing to put in the time that it takes to learn about these things? Anything worth having is worth investing in. And it's not always a financial investment. Some investments are time investments. It's the same thing when you're trying to learn about economics and you're trying to learn about money. You want to say to yourself that I'm going to make a time investment. I'm going to utilize some of my time, and instead of me focusing on recreation, I'm going to focus on learning about business, learning about the different ways that money moves, learning about the different things that a person should have in their arsenal. Maybe they don't have the time because they're running their business. So maybe you'll take the time to become an expert in best practices so that then you can offer that as a service. It's like a rainbow. It's infinite. You have so many different things that you can do. Have you ever thought to yourself that the rich keep getting richer and the poor just continue to be poor? Yep, most of us have. Most of us at one point or another question, like, why is that person the boss? Or why does that person have that? Or what qualified that person to offer that? And so on and so forth. And we've taken a few moments to try to figure out how can we get our foot in the game and how can we be a part of, that entrepreneurial movement that's going on. I want to encourage you today that no matter what you may be thinking in your mind, the person who has more money may not have more creativity. And sometimes it doesn't boil down to money. It boils down to who's willing to go the extra mile, put in the time, invest their time and their energy into becoming an expert at their craft. I'll never forget about this story that I read on the internet. And it was about a young boy who was in an African village, and he had figured out how to bring electricity to his village. So he did it with like plastic. And then after he had brought the electricity to the village and, people were enjoying having this, the benefit of the technology, the government came along and said that he wasn't supposed to do that and try to take the people's electricity away. At the end of the day, sometimes your ability to create something out of nothing will take you a really, really long way. Like, it can make up the difference when you don't have the other things, when you don't have that additional revenue, or you don't have the examples, the support system, the this or the that. If you have creativity and if you are willing to put in the effort, then at the end of the day, you have all the makings of the next Google, the next Apple, the next whoever. Because A lot of those people are disruptors. We don't know where Mark Zuckerberg came from. He just fell out of the thin sky. No one knows, how he ended up doing what he did. We saw the movie, but at the end of the day, it really boils down to he did what he did. He put it together and he figured it out. And that's what you have to do. You have to put it together. You have to figure it out. Sometimes it doesn't boil down to money. It boils down to who's willing to go the extra mile, put in the time, invest their time and their energy into becoming an expert at their craft. Now, you may ask me, what do you mean that I'm part of someone's business plan? I mean exactly that. You become part of someone's business plan when you choose to stay on the consumer side of the fence. If you don't decide to yourself that in some way, shape, form, or fashion, you're going to switch over to the economically savvy side of the fence where you are utilizing some form of expertise in order to make additional revenue that you are in control of. Not your boss, no one, just you. Until that time comes, you are part of someone's business plan. And it really sucks because some of those business plans are not nice. Like, for instance, grandma passed away. She didn't leave an airtight will. You guys go to court. You're battling back and forth over who's going to have the rights to the property and who's going to this and who's going to that. And in the meantime, you list it. You say to yourself, okay, well, we want to sell it. So we're going to put it out there and, see what happens so that by the time this here legal thing gets squared away, we can, whoever comes out the victor can grab up the spoils. Number one, why are you trying to sell grandma's asset? Like, that asset is your ticket from the consumer side to the economically savvy side, because you can now use that to create continuous revenue. You can use that to have residual income each month that then if someone needs something, now you have a pot to pull from. Now you have a pot that y'all can use as leverage to do something else. But let's let that be aside. Okay, you decide, to put grandma's house up, you're going to sell it. But they see that you're in court. They see that you're arguing. They say to themselves, okay, either someone is not going to pay the taxes, someone's going to fall behind on whatever bills need to be paid. In worst case scenario, if they don't fall behind, just the fact that I'm bickering and squabbling, sooner or later something's going to happen, and that darn thing is going to end up right there on the website saying bid for this. They have a full business plan that is dependent upon you doing so. They have people running seminars in order to help people to understand how to acquire houses without going the traditional route. You are part of someone's business plan. I was even talking to someone personally and telling them, like, no, 9 times out of 10, y'all gonna lose that. Because they waiting, they see all of the signs. They see that the water bill is getting behind. They see that somebody living there and they not paying. They see y'all in court and y'all arguing, and then boom, what happened? Got the bottom of the dollar because people are not thinking. Something that could have been residual income, could have been leveraged towards future assets, but no. You're part of someone's business plan. Do the right thing. Do the right thing and make generational wealth important. Make it a value, a moral value that we teach to our kids, that we instill within ourselves, that we don't take for granted. Like, even when I speak to people sometimes, especially, people of color who are in business, it's like we have developed such a thick skin just to get started. We had to stand strong against all of the naysayers who said oh, you're not going to be able to do it. Why you think you should be doing that? No, I'm not helping you with that. Not wasting my money or my time on that. We have to get rid of all, get past all that stuff. And so we build up this thick skin, don't you know what it took for me to get this? Don't you know what it took for me to get started? And so anytime there's any highlight on a deficiency, instead of us trying to find a solution, sometimes that hardness that develops can cause us to just get defensive. And I say that in response to, yes, you need a website. Like, why don't you want to get a website? I understand most of them are expensive, but there are people who will do them for free. There's contests going on all the time where people are offering to give you a marketing package in order for you to be able to, have access. Like, everyone in business who has some sort of expertise that they know would be able to help the next generation of blah, 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 the next generation of architects, the next generation of, small business owners. A lot of us will do stuff in order to try to make things accessible that we felt we needed and that we wish somebody would have made accessible to us. And so you have to be on the lookout. You have to say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to put in the time commitment. I'm going to put in the investment in finding these things and figuring things out so that way I can get it done. My website cost me about $1,000. Let me explain that $1,000. I paid the first person to do the website, paid them a few $100s, didn't get any website. But they asked me this question, they asked me that question, they had me do this, they had me do that. I looked at a little bit of this, I looked at a little bit of that. So by the time the second person got me, then it was like I learned a little bit more, and I learned a little bit more. Then I thought, well, maybe if I pay a little bit more, then I'll get, a better outcome. Unfortunately not. No, the third person got me, and by the time I had spent that last set of money, I had learned how to do my websites. Now I do my own websites. Now I can do your websites. Now I help all kinds of people with their websites. So don't knock humble beginnings. Don't get angry over the process. Don't despise the hurdles. Yes, it hurts in the meantime. It hurts when you're going through them. People may say, oh, you got some bags under your eyes. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Because my goal is to retire way earlier than what I would retire if I was doing a traditional job. I like being up in the middle of the night. So my work schedule works for me. It's up to you what works for you. What are you willing to invest? Are you willing to sometimes go to sleep late at night and then wake up real early in the morning after only a few hours because you want to get it done? Are you willing to do that so that you can have $5,000 to invest in something so that it can turn into 20 grand? Or are you more concerned? Like, I can't even count all the things that people have laughed at me about because they thought that it was either too much of a sacrifice, it didn't make sense, and so on and so forth. And then at the end of the day, it worked out fine. It worked out great, actually. I've only had one car that I had to make payments on since I've become an entrepreneur. Why? Because I don't make car payments anymore. I will ride that car into the ground if it means that I'm going to save up enough money to buy a car outright, because a car is not really an asset. Like, as soon as I drive it off the lot, if it's brand new, now all of a sudden it's depreciated. Boom, that's another person's business plan. Like, they are banking on me not knowing any better. They're banking on me saying that, oh, I want a new one every year. They're banking on my credit not being good enough so that they could charge me higher interest rates, and they know that I want that brand new one, and they're going to kill me on the back end. It's like, no. Like, do you really, really care what people have to say, like to the point where you're going to upgrade before your paycheck does? So my thing is figure out what you are willing to sacrifice. Figure out what it is that you are willing to do in order for you to acquire generational wealth. Don't make excuses for mediocrity. Whatever it took for you to get started, wonderful. Congratulate yourself, and congratulate yourself. Like, don't wait for anybody else to do that. Go ahead, cheer for yourself, but then figure out how to get the next step done. When I first started my newsletter, it was in an email. It was in an email format. I had my little sections, and stuff was bold, different fonts, in order to make up for the fact that I didn't know how to utilize newsletter platforms where I could kind of use better graphics, and I could put things together in a better way so that when it comes to people, it's more professional. I didn't know, so I just went on ahead and got started. And sure enough, people would say, oh, these are really informative, and so on and so forth. And that was the list that was built in order for me to have the more, professional newsletter now and send that out to people. At the end of the day, both newsletters still gave people valuable information, and people felt as though they were getting valuable information from the newsletter. So the thing is that I got started where I was, but I didn't get upset when someone told me, hey, there's another platform that you can use, and it will give you better graphics. It will allow you to, store your mailing list. You don't have to go through all of the typing in, the name and clicking on the button and the this and the that. You can use this. And then from them telling me that, then I did a YouTube video so that other people who were looking for information, if they, put it in the search, then boom, they could find the video and they could get help. And they can have, a little bit more information and access to information than I had. Because that's what we do as entrepreneurs, is once we get it, then we, give a little bit away. We try to help people along the way. So I'm hoping that this is a motivation for you. I'm hoping that this is an encouragement for you, that you will think to yourself and you'll say, you know what? I got started. Let me keep pushing. Let me get all of these pieces in place so that people, when it comes time that I do want to get a grant or a loan, or I want to expand, maybe I want someone to sponsor me, or, take seriously investing in my endeavor, they're going to want to see this, and this. So go ahead and start building this, and this. If you don't know, start researching. Of course, you can always contact Holistic Coaching, and if we can be of any assistance, we're more than happy to help you. But, reach out, look for what you need. Like, try to bring that to yourself with your affirmations, putting out that positive energy. But at the end of the day, don't let what you don't know become someone else's generational wealth, because they already knew that you wouldn't take the time to look into it, and they were banking on the fact that you would not take time to look into it. Like, their whole goal is hoping that you never take the time to look into it. And it is anything, any industry that you are willing to put in a time commitment. Forget about the finances, put in a time commitment and make it your goal to learn What can I offer someone in this arena? Can I offer them consulting? Can I offer them, the marketing? Can I put things together for them? Can I organize things for them? What is your creative passion? Like, what is it that you were, innately blessed with? Like, it just comes, to you. It's just intrinsic. You don't do too much in order for it to manifest. You just walking that. You walk in that, and then walk in it, so that it can bring you what you need. It can bring you the support. It can bring you the customers. It can bring you whatever it is that you need in order to go from just the consumer side of things, which we all are on the consumer side of things in one way or another. But you need to come over to the economically savvy side of things too. At some point, you have to say to yourself, I am going to make generational wealth a priority. I'm not going to just be satisfied with, oh, well, I don't need that because I have enough customers. Well, if you have enough customers, then don't you want to get like that overflow so that way you can hire some people, and that way maybe you will get to the place where you just sit down and everything is just on, smooth coasting. That's when it's smooth coasting, not when you open the doors, not when you have enough customers and you're working all day long and you fulfilling orders and you're doing this and you're doing that. No, it's when you start to be able to employ people, be able to, help other people get to the next level. It's just up to you, whatever your vision of success is, whatever your vision is of what it looks like to be on the entrepreneurial side, on the boss side, you can make it happen. It doesn't mean that you have to get rid of your day job. It doesn't mean that you can't have the security of a paycheck. What it means is that you learn how to get in where you fit in. Use your innate abilities, your creative talents, what it is that comes to you just naturally. Use that. Start there. And I promise you, success is going to come your way. You're going to have that additional stream of income. You're going to be that boss that you've been talking about. And you're going to say to yourself, what do I do next? And that's when you call holistic coaching. Contact us in order for us to help you go to the next level so that you can start hiring people. And that is the true meaning of being a boss. So once again, thank you so much for joining me, Jan Harp, on whichever social media platform you are watching this. I thank you so much for your time, and I hope that you got something informative out of this. Have a great day, and thank you so much. Hit the like and the subscribe, whatever it is that they want us to do in order for people to see this somewhere else, and on and on. You know what to do. Thank you so much. Have a great day.